Right. So a very good evening to each and every one of you. Thank you for joining in today. Thank you for, um, I think, being a part of this very, very important conversation. So I'd like us to kick off with an opening prayer. Who can we call? Stabby, can we call you to please kick us off with an opening prayer if you're able to speak? Can you hear me? Oh, I hope I'm not in and out. Can you hear me? Yes? Okay, I
Yes,
think
we can
let's
hear
just
you.
Yes,
get
we
started.
can.
Okay. All right, Doc, we'll need to turn on your video as well when you're comfortable, Dr. Fayombo. Right. So, Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for this gathering. We thank you because you are the holder and purveyor of all knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Lord, we ask as we go into this session, we ask that you be with us, Lord. Guide us, guide the speakers, speak through them, Lord, and give them utterance in this very important topic. We ask, Lord, that you show us what we don't know. Your word says if you ask you will tell us what we don't know. So we're asking to share with us what we don't know, what we need to learn, what we need to understand on this very important topic, and give us the grace even to take action and not just be hearers only. Father, we commit the entire session into your hands, and we ask that you take all the glory in Jesus' mighty name. Amen and amen. Right. So welcome. I'd welcome all our sisters once again. Thank you for joining in at this time. Um, yes, so our topic for today is I think it's timely, really, because a lot of us are somewhat in this space, whether we realize it or not. And it's a deeply, deeply important conversation. We're talking about care for the elderly. Right. So as Christian women, many of us are daughters, wives, mothers, aunties, caregivers in one form or another. And right now we're the in-between generation who are caring for children or nieces and nephews on the one hand, and also have parents, if we're still lucky, on the other hand. For some of us, our parents are already aging, and we're beginning to see the needs or new needs arising as the case may be. And for others, we may already be in the thick of caregiving. I think we'll hear from one of our sisters to that effect. So this session is about understanding how to care, how to have this care as a Christian woman, not just physically, but also emotionally and spiritually with wisdom and grace. So we'd like to understand and go further to embrace the responsibility and privilege of caring for the elderly, whether our parents, our relatives, or elderly members of the community, and doing this with knowledge, with compassion, and with godly wisdom. So we're hoping, what we hope to achieve today is to equip ourselves with practical and even medical understanding of aging, the physical and emotional need, and even healthcare for our seniors. We hope to highlight the spiritual and emotional dimensions of caring for the elderly. What do we need to be able to do this? Patience, empathy, honor, and even boundaries. We hope to also hear real life experiences and also share as well, even those of us in the audience. Remember, we use our chats. Let's keep the chat buzzing, right? To share real life experiences and indeed strategies, for managing elderly care. Someone needs to mute their mic and also encourage ourselves to see caring as a form of honoring our parents. In fact, it's part of one of the commandments, which is honor your father and mother. And I think there's actually quite a number of scriptures about the elderly. And one which especially touched me is 1 Timothy 5:4, which says, they should learn first of all to put their religion into practice by caring for their own family. So meaning that one of the ways we show that we're Christians is caring for our own. So welcome again to this really, really timely and pertinent topic. Today, I think we have a great panel. We'll be hearing from two different sides, and I'm sure there's probably a mix in between, really. I will be hearing from a medical professional, specifically that's Dr. Fayombo, and also from our own sisters who has lived this experience, who is also in the medical field, interestingly. She's a pharmacist. Together, they will help us explore how to blend knowledge and compassion and faith in caring for our elderly loved ones. So it is my pleasure to introduce our speakers. First speaker, Doc, we have your video up. Yes, so Dr. Fayombo would need to have your video on at this time. I would like to introduce you. Thank you. So we have our first speaker. Oh, wait, maybe we'll introduce our second sister first. I'll wait for you to turn on your video. Right. So our second sister speaker is just Adeola Olanrewaju. She's a pharmacist by training. She has over 18 years of work experience as a leading creative in branded incentives consultancy business. Wow, that's a mouthful, in Nigeria. She's a graduate, Women's Entrepreneurship Accelerator, that's Women X initiative under the World Bank. She's also a graduate of the Women's Entrepreneurship Program from the prestigious China Europe International Business School. She's currently the GC, now that's internal, in charge of the business unit in TOCI. Her experience ranges from business analysis to management brand support, promotional tool servicing, brand representation with the use of gifts and promotional items and operations management. She currently serves as Chief Executive Officer as Shea's Quintessence. I have to practice that. A company she established years ago, offering services, offering specialized gifts and professional items for corporate brands across several industries in Nigeria. She's married with children. Let's make welcome our sister, Adeola Olanrewaju. Thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your story with us. Our second speaker is Dr. Olamide Fayombo, MD, MBBS. She's a compassionate and professional physician with vast expertise in a variety of healthcare settings. With a solid background in mental health, geriatrics, and family medicine, she delivers holistic care that is tailored to meet the unique needs of her patients. She has extensive experience working with patients facing mental health challenges, providing evidence-based therapies and compassionate care to promote mental well-being, ensuring both physical and emotional aspects of healthcare are addressed. In the area of geriatrics, she has a special interest in the elderly population, with experience working with a geriatric facility and providing home care visits for elderly patients. She's well-versed in managing chronic conditions, dementia care, and end-of-life care, working with multidisciplinary teams to improve quality of life and ensure dignity in aging. She believes in a patient-first approach, building strong relationships and taking the time to listen to her patients. Her goal is to improve the health and well-being of those she serves through a combination of clinical expertise, empathetic care, and a commitment to lifelong health. Ladies, please let's make welcome our second speaker, Dr. Olamide Fayombo. Welcome. Please let's keep the chat buzzing. You know how we do. Welcome, welcome. So we'll go right in really to make the most of the time. Thank you. Right, and we'll start with Dr. Fayombo. So welcome. You can share your screen if you wish to, right, so that we can take the first perspective, which is a medical perspective, giving an overview of aging, healthcare challenges, emotional well-being, and caregiver tips. So if you're okay to share, please go ahead. You have 15 minutes to talk to that, or would you want me to share?
Okay,
We'll see.
that'll be fine.
Oh, okay. All right. So let me do that then. Apologies, that is just coming up. Oof. But you can actually get started while I'm downloading the slides.
Oh, okay. So good evening, Maz. Good evening, Saz. I'm glad to be here to talk about caring for the elderly. Okay.
So it's coming up.
Sorry, can you still see me? Because I'm actually on the slide page.
Yes. We
Okay.
can see you.
All right. So we're talking about.
So let me.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Okay,
Go
we're
ahead, please.
talking about
I'll go on mute now.
caring for the elderly with more of like in the medical field. So from the medical perspective. So before we go right into it, let's talk about aging. So aging, we should know that aging is a natural process and it's universal. So everyone that God has blessed with longevity should actually go through this process. And aging actually affects every organ and system in the body. It is also important to know that aging is not a disease, it's actually a blessing. However, it changes how the body functions, how the mind functions, and also it increases our vulnerability to illness and slowing down recovery. Sorry, I need to plug in my PC. I didn't know that the battery was low. Okay, let me see. How many more minutes? 29%. Okay. All right, so the important thing also is to age gracefully. So aging gracefully means that staying healthy, active, and happy as you grow older. So the physical changes that people experience, one is slower metabolism. You'll know that as you age, you start adding fat in some places that there were no fats before, probably the abdomen and some other areas of the body. That's because metabolism has reduced. Then also, as you grow older, there will be reduced muscle mass because there's wasting, we call it wasting of muscle in medicine. So there is a reduction in the muscle mass, thinner skin, decreased elasticity, reduced bone density, which slows down movement. And we even have people that end up getting elderly people that end up with fractures. We call those pathological fractures because of the aging process. Then also there's weaker immunity, slow wound healing. So those are the physical or biological changes that happen. Then we have mental and emotional changes. Sometimes some people experience, not all elderly people, some experience mild memory lapses or they are slow to recall things. While you have few elderly people that their memory will still be 100. Then we have possible mood changes, social withdrawal, and even some get aggressive. Then usually they want a greater need for social connection and emotional support. Okay, so the importance of this caring for elderly is to respect them and also for them to be able to maintain their dignity. So it's important to know that dignity is the foundation of a good geriatric care. So for older adults, you need to let them understand that they are being heard. So in any decision you want to make for them, you have to involve them in their care or their decision. Don't just tell your elderly one that, okay, I'm getting this for you, I'm calling the doctor for you. You need to explain to them as you would to a child. So, and you respect them, address them properly and politely, and value their experiences, honor them. We have people that sometimes I go to elderly people's house and I see the way, even the caregivers, I see the way they talk to them, and I always have to correct them. You can't talk to an elderly person, even though they behave like children. They are not children. You need to talk to them politely and also value their experiences. So support them. Some of them are able to actually maintain some degree of independence. So allow them if they're able to do so. Don't tell them, oh, you will slow us down, so let's just carry you on this way. No, 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 no. Give them time. Okay, you want to walk by yourself? Fine. Why not? Then you protect them from neglect, abuse, and discrimination. Caring for the elderly is not just about medicine. It's about preserving humanity. Okay, so and we should know that aging is a natural process and not a failure of the body. Like I mentioned earlier, aging is not a disease. Being elderly is not being diseased. So what we do basically, or what is most important, is preventive care in this age group. So I'll talk about that later on. So preventive care, good nutrition, social connection are core pillars of longevity. So mental health matters as much as physical health, and this should be managed safely and reviewed regularly. So above all, treat every older adult with dignity, patience, and passion. So the benefit of this is for them to be healthy, for fewer illness, to be energetic, stay independent as much as possible, and not force them, actually, and doing the things they love. Also have a stronger connection with family and friends. So this is just about what they are expected to do. Exercise. Some people are unable to run. So if it's brisk walk, they can do. If it's dancing, they can do exercise. Social connection. Social connection in terms of church groups, clubs, you can connect them to people of their age group also. Okay, so let's keep this. All right, so I mentioned about behavioral changes and biological changes in elderly. So for behavioral factors, we talk about healthy food. So at this age, it's important for them to actually eat healthy meals. So we tell them to reduce salt intake, processed food, red meat, and then focus more on vegetables, on fruit, and drink a lot of water, even when they are not thirsty, because elderly people actually forget to drink water. They will tell you the weather is cold and they are not thirsty and they won't drink water. And water is very good for the brain. It helps with memory. So we tell them their diet and what they drink is important. So exercise for them to stay healthy and to level of mobility, however they can tolerate. Then sleep. They also have issues with sleep. So we talk about, I would mention that in the next slide. We talk about sleep hygiene and also to avoid harmful habits. Usually we don't have these issues with elderly, smoking and alcohol use. So that is fine. So let's talk about the sleep. A lot of them complain about sleep. And so we tell them this sleep hygiene. So set a particular time that you want to go to bed and a particular time you wake up, and, limit lights in the room, turn off the TV. In fact, we don't advise that there should be TV in the room. Eat in bits, avoid large meals before you go to bed, make your room cool, and all this. And then during the day, they should have brief naps, not sleep for 3 hours and expect that you'll be able to get another 7 hours at night. Most times it doesn't work that way. And also fluids, we talk about that. But at night, we say limit your fluid intake to reduce interruption in your sleep, because that will make you wake up several times to go pee and they might not be able to sleep. And then when there are concerns, they should call for medical personnel. Okay, so it is also important to ensure that their environment where they stay is safe. No exposure to pollutions, to ultraviolet rays. Too much sun can actually, because they've lost the elasticity in on the skin, so their skin is actually prone to damage. So we tell them avoid staying in the sun for too long, avoid inhaling pollens or smoke fumes. So we tell them all these things. Then use of chemicals on the body. There are some of them that people, they just buy things. Oh, they will tell them, oh, I'm having pains on in my joints, because that's also a very common thing. And someone will tell them, oh, there's one rub somewhere. I'm not talking about the actual rub, but there's a balm somewhere that you can use, and they just buy, they don't know what it contains. So we tell them, before you even apply things on your skin, because your skin actually absorbs these things, you should consult with either with any medical professional, either the nurse or the pharmacist or the doctor. All right, so what should we focus on after 50? So a balanced diet, staying healthy, engaging in mental stimulation. So we advise them to read, to learn a new skill. Some of them, we tell them to learn to knit, even if they don't know how to. Okay, that's if they have interest in it. Go through puzzles. We give them newspapers and solve some puzzles in the newspapers, listening to the radios, even call the radio station, radios that are engaging, call them and tell them about things also that they ask about. And then ensure adequate sleep, social connection to avoid harmful habits is not common in elderly, like I said, and also attend regular doctors visit for preventive care, and early detection of illnesses. So basically, this is the end of the presentation, actually. But basically, what we do in Gero Care is that we visit elderly patients or elderly people, not patients, elderly people, and then we take their complaints, tell them maybe there's a diagnosis, their illness, and then we go through the medications they are on, we change the medications or just adjust and as need be. And we do that monthly, actually, and help them focus on their health. And also looking forward to interaction with their doctor, because it's a monthly thing, and then they know that, okay, next month my doctor is coming. So there's this eagerness that, okay, there's a doctor coming in next month. So that's also social interaction. So that's what we do in Gero Care, basically. So so this is it. Our goal is for preventive health care. So to prevent chronic illnesses. And for those that already have the common chronic illnesses, the hypertension, diabetes, arthritis, those are the common ones in elderly. So we actually go in and then help those that have not yet developed all this to ensure that they are not tilting towards these chronic illnesses. We check BP regularly, blood sugar, and all this. We do laboratory tests and all the tests necessary is to just manage and also reduce complications to enhance quality of life, basically. And then we also do health education when we visit these people. And with their family members, we talk to them how they should manage the elderly people. So let me just stop here, because the remaining ones, the remaining slides are just talking about the company as a whole. So I think this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Unless if I come to you with questions so that we can leave by 8 o'clock and then we'll continue. All right. So if that's okay.
Yes.
So, we'll call you now.
All right. I can't hear you.
Yeah. I think her network is a bit
Oh, okay.
15 minutes. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Sarife. Good evening, sisters. Thank you for having me share my experience and story, taking care of my aged parents. Before I start, I know that there is some people on the call that maybe might have lost their parents. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Some people might have lost their parents. Sorry?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, all right. Fantastic. So some women have lost their parents, but trust me, what the Dr. Fayombo has shared, I mean, it looks, I mean, really like it's not a lot, but a lot has been shared that I think we should harp on. And I'll try and share, I mean, in my own experience, I'll try and point out some things. So when we're not just talking about even how to care for our parents now or looking into that, we're looking at putting in things in place for even our own care. future, you know. So it's not just, I mean, it doesn't just end with us, it's continuing with us towards our seeds. So my name is Adeola Olanrewaju, like as I was introduced. I have two parents, both alive. My mother is 85 plus. My, my father is 87 plus. So I won't go over all the definitions about aging, but what I would like to say is that life, I've seen it from my experience, is a cycle. And I have determined that I will do the best I can with my parents so that even my own children will be able to learn and be able to do so for me in my own old age. Now, going back a few years, about 2018, my parents worked and retired in the UK, you know, so after they retired, they were shuttling the UK to Nigeria, 6 months here, 6 months there. Nobody really bothered, you know. Disturbing them. They were up to it. They were doing everything they wanted to do. We didn't have any conversations. We didn't plan for their aging or what's going to happen. There were no conversations. But of course, being in the UK, also people that had retired in the medical field, they were up to time, with their medical tests, so they knew what was wrong with their systems. My mom was diagnosed with hypercalcemia. You know, it was a general joke in the family. You know, a consultant would write, give her an appointment, they will cancel. They're like, I'm hypercalcemia. It seems like a funny name, but nobody really paid any attention up to about 2018. Then COVID occurred. When COVID occurred, they were on their way to the UK when there was they shut down. So they ended up staying in my place in Lagos, and after that, we just decided that, look, instead of going back to Ibadan, you know, because of the safety, kidnapping, harassment there, and they just stay in Lagos. And that's how they ended up being in my care. Have three siblings in the UK. We're two in Lagos then. So it was easy. They were shuttling my house. They were staying mainly in my house, but going to spend the weekend at my brother's. So one fateful day in 2022, I was getting ready to travel, and my daughter called me that my mom was acting funny, and she was seeing people where they were not. What happened? So I reached out to my school alumni, my secondary school alumni group. I know we had the gerontologist there, you know. I said, Toyin, please, can I bring my mom for an assessment? You know, and I give her the background information. They did the blood tests, and then a few days after, she just called me and said, Adeola, your mommy's calcium level is really high. That must be what's responsible for the delirium that she acted out. So she put her on some memory drugs. She was saying that maybe we're still considering. That was 2022. So what are we going to do? They told her that she would have a flush. The xyloidonic acid. They did everything they were going to do. So, and then we still continued the normal travel. You know, in 2023, we traveled and we stayed with them during the summer, and we stayed in a flat that had like a small space and 5 doors. And my mom would stay in the middle of the passage, and she couldn't identify which door was which. So even if you can't identify, you should be able to open to at least find out what is behind the door. It was going to be like a bathroom, your bedroom, the living room, or the front door. But she would just stay there and say, I don't know, what to do. So what's happening? So I reached out to another friend, old classmate, whose mom had dementia, and she said, Diola, you need to get your mom out of the UK and get a power of attorney in place. Because if you don't have the power of attorney in place, it will be difficult.
I keep forgetting all those things, just like scientific application. Because, like, you live it.
Sorry, can you mute?
Mute yourself.
So she advised that we get the power of attorney in place. So they left after the summer when it was getting cold. They left back to Nigeria, and we started the power of attorney. We made a mistake, so we had to go. So they were in Nigeria, but my friend was treating them. Now, at this point, based on even what Dr. Fayombo said, something I'd like to point out that the diagnostics in Nigeria is really fast and is accurate. Our medical practitioners in Nigeria are fantastic. That's the honest truth. You can't have it better. You might have more equipment overseas, but in terms of the personnel, trust me, the doctors have it. Even just from the small presentation that Dr. Fayombo has given. So we started on the treatment, for dementia, and now bear in mind, my dad is older, but just because my mom seemingly had more important needs, we neglected him. Now my dad has he has then they had they said he was pre-diabetic, so we're watching his sugar level. They said he had to do a cataract operation, which he refused to do. We didn't bother with that. It was his hard of hearing in one ear. We got him hearing aids. He didn't want to wear it. We didn't even bother because my mom, seemed like the more important person that needed our attention. Anyway, 2023, 2023, we came back to Nigeria. 2024, we going back for summer. I mean, just so many things were off. She just wasn't responding. She was talking, she was communicating, but it was so obvious that yes, I mean, she was undergoing some form of dementia. So we felt okay. If she came back in 2024, by 2025, she would go back and then would have her diagnosed and treated, but she was being treated in Nigeria. So now, in 2024 December, last year December, on my birthday, she fell down. And they had warned the consultant that was seeing her had said that she mustn't fall down because her bones were really brittle, that we could have a break. But thankfully, nothing went wrong. But the amazing thing was that when my husband came in that night and saw her, I met her on the floor, the whole house was asleep. But my dad was beside her. And my dad didn't deem it important enough to wake anybody up. He was just encouraging her. Nolade, get up, get up, And my husband asked her, why didn't you wake Adeola? I said that she's asleep. And yet this is still the same man that if he's looking for the remote control for the television and you can't find it, he will come into your room, wake you up, but somebody fell down. It just showed that even his cognitive abilities, had really, really reduced. So fast forward to this year, there was a really sharp decline. My parents were supposed to go back in March. My mom was in and out of hospitals, of the hospital, her dehydration, something as simple as constipation, because she couldn't express herself, because she couldn't tell us that this is what I need. I'm not eating because I'm constipated. She ended up getting back to the hospital until we discovered that pattern. In May, when I traveled, she had to go back to the hospital for like 2 weeks. Then she completely lost her mobility. By now, even her talking had reduced. It's only when she's in pain that you hear her really talk. She will give you a full sentence. If million now, something, but otherwise, she just silent, she just, talking under her breath. You're struggling to hear her and everything. Anyway, so in July, my siblings and I decided that let's just take her back to England. Because we had, in Nigeria, we had actually done the best we felt we could do for her. She had developed bed sores, and it was just the climate, everything wasn't working. So we brought her back to the UK, of course, on admission, here and there, still the same dehydration. Just recently, 2 weeks ago, in fact, I thank God for the opportunity to even speak this because it shows that my mom is alive. Because 2 weeks ago, they had called us in the hospital and said, oh, this is end of life for her because she wasn't responding. She had an infection, and we thought, okay, 85, let's just stay with her until she started responding back to the antibiotics that she was given. Now, what are the learnings that I've seen, I've taken? They're quite a bit, and I feel if we don't isolate the word aging and we see it like growth just in the negative way, the way you have a child and bring a child up, that you are intentional about it. You ask questions. Your child wants to go to school. You ask your friends, which school do you recommend? I want my child to speak French, not English. What do you think? It's the same way we have to be with aging. It's a process that it's inevitable. All we want is it should be as pain-free and as problem-free as possible, both to the person that is aging and to the people surrounding them. So I found out that at each point in time, we were not intentional initially. It was later that we realized that, oh, this is tearing us right in the face. We were not intentional. We had no talk with our family, with our parents to say, okay, this is how it is. Where is your will? What do you want done? And everybody just live their life thinking that, oh, they will live forever. They will be strong forever, but it's not so. It's not so. It's not so. So I think, for me, I've listed out some points, and I think being intentional in caring for our aged ones is important. We have to learn, we have to ask questions. We have to also know our parents and what would suit them. Now, I remember last time Mama was in Nigeria, she mentioned some things that she did for her parents, that she put some things in place. Okay, her mom likes church, her mom likes visiting friends, her dad likes business. Okay, mommy, so on Wednesday and Thursday, the driver is going to be available to take you out. We must be intentional about putting such things in place for our old ones, so that even while aging, some things could happen, some conditions, some medical conditions that prevent it, but at least they would have been able to enjoy the process of growing old. I remember what a friend of my mom said. She said, Adeola, everybody wants to go old, but to go old is not easy. And that's just the simple truth of it. So another thing I think is important for us to learn is continuity in information from the parents to us, and not just from the parents to us, from us to our children. Are there stories? Are there things that we need to know? Are there things that we need to learn? Let's not think that they will be there forever. Let's find out what we need to find out and have records for these things, so that at the end of age or life, we don't look back and be wishing, oh, I wish I had known this, I wish I had known that. But also unity in the family support system. I'm the first of 5, and I'm the Margaret Thatcher of the house. I really don't have eye for details, but I found out that at least caring for our parents, we've been able to come together, we've been able to bond more, we've been able to realize each other's strengths and weaknesses. So the person that has, the eye for details, we give him that. If it's the finances you are very good at that you can handle, please handle that. We call on you. If it's taking charge of organizing people, doing stuff, we do that. For example, I'm out of all of them, I'm the only entrepreneur. Right now I'm in the UK. I don't even know when I'm going back to Nigeria, because my responsibility to settle my parents here. So once they're settled, then I can hand them over to my siblings. Another thing that I've seen is conflict resolution. There are people that die, and people that they have left behind are left in a worse state. Why? They probably had issues that they didn't resolve. I remember I stormed out of the house. I wasn't talking to my parents, and these are small things that eventually.
Mommy, can I just get batteries? I should help you get batteries. Yeah. Okay, I'm coming.
Sorry, Faye. Help mute them.
Sorry, she's been muted.
Thank you. So those are those are issues that come back later, that might come back to haunt us. Another thing is knowing ourselves. Now, looking at someone like my dad, we see so many things. My mom said, my dad was a very strict man. We didn't understand. But now I get to understand. I asked my dad, Dad, will you go and spend the night with my mom in the hospital? He said, no. There's nowhere for me to sleep. I said, we are sleeping on the couch now. He said, no, that's why he has children. It's not because he doesn't love her. That's just how he is. He's strict. So we should, once we identify who or what we are, how we are these things that we want to be amplified when we're older, this is the time that we can work on it. This is the time that we can improve on ourselves. Another thing I would like to say that ignorance.
Sorry to cut into. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry to cut into it. Can we just pause at this point? We'll come back to you. Unfortunately, our doctor has to run off. She's been
Okay.
called in for an emergency surgery. So just want to
Okay.
take a few questions from her and then we'll
Right.
come back to you. So apologies for, cutting your flow.
No,
Just want to get back. Right. So Dr. Fayombo, if you can have your video back on, just have a few questions and then you know that we have to let you go. But thank you so much, Adeola. As in making some copious notes, I will come back to you. Right. Right. So thank you. So, doctor, I wanted to ask, and I think I'll ask our sisters any questions you have for the doctor. Let's put in the chat, please, so that she can let her go. She needs to leave in the next part. I was wondering, is there any way to prevent, quote and unquote, the aging process? And is the aging process always linked with illness or disease? And I'm asking, there's this lady I was, following on Instagram. I think her name is Chef Babette. She's 75 years old and she looks 30, right? So is there any way to actually prevent the aging process? And is it always synonymous with illness? So that's the first question.
Okay. So should I go ahead and answer this or wait for
I'm
the
audible.
question?
Yeah. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Oh,
No, please go
okay.
ahead. Take them one at a time.
Okay. So the short answer is there's no how we can there's no how we can stop aging. There's no how we can slow down aging. But like I mentioned, aging is not the same as illness. Okay, so aging is just a natural process that is universal. Okay, but it's important that we watch what we take. So what we eat actually affects how we age and how much we age. It's part of it, but not 100%. So genetic also. So for the person that is not, that is like aging backwards, so gene, and of course, how they take care of their health also. So there's no how we can slow down or stop aging. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yes, I think the other part was you mentioned you answered that it's not synonymous with illness. So it's, next question is, how can we recognize the early signs of what could be serious health issues? Like Sister Jella was saying, there's, just observe one or two things without maybe realizing how serious they might be. So how can families recognize early signs of serious health issues like dementia or depression or mobility loss?
Okay. So let me start by saying, okay, I'm sure there are people that you've seen their I think obituary posts, and they say they passed on after a brief illness, probably 3 days after they fell ill and they passed on. So there are times that things like that happen. They are not sick, they were not sick prior to 3 days to their passing on. So there are in some cases, some things like that can happen, and then some people just pass on like that. Some people sleep and they pass on like that. Okay, but the ones that we can actually pick, it is important that there is a doctor's visit. So for elderly, we tell them that preventive care is what is most important in them. So in the younger people, we can wait till we have a headache and then we say, oh, let me go to the hospital. Let me even take paracetamol. No, elderly people, we don't treat them like that. So before they even fall ill, we actually, okay, let me just use Gero Care as an example. We do home visits, monthly home visits. So the first month I'm visiting you, I already know how you are. I already know your mental state. I give you some tests to feel. So I already know the level of your cognition, the level of your alertness. I know your physical health, mental health. So I have that at the back of my mind. The next time I'm visiting, and I have that recorded on our platform, so that even if I'm not the one visiting the following month, the doctor that will be visiting, in case there is anything that is off. Okay, this woman was able to say this, he was able to do this. How come this month we are not, she's not able to do this or say this? We are able to pick these things and then we flag it as, okay, there's something wrong. And then whatever system is there, we take, we run some tests and give medications as necessary. So it's just best for elderly to have regular checkups. So that is the short answer. So regular checkups are important to prevent some illnesses, most illnesses. Yes.
Thank you very much. I think so. What we're taking from that is, apart from just trying to observe as a family, we should make it a habit to have our loved ones, our elderly, to have regular medical checks, so that even if we have missed something, the medical providers will be able to catch it. I think that's what I got. Okay. Right. So next question is, what small or what daily routines or habits make the biggest difference in caring for the elderly? What are the things that we can put in place practically and maybe not so big, or just small daily routines or habits which could impact as they get older?
Okay. Sorry, I didn't get that question. Routine things they can do, is that it?
Yes, sorry, my network is a bit acting off, so that's why I put off my video, because of the bandwidth. So let me take that
Okay.
again. So what small routines or daily habits make the biggest difference in caring for the elderly?
Okay. So as we know that most of us, once we reach a certain age, we leave our homes. Some even leave the country, and then their parents stay back in the country or they go elsewhere. So the first thing we advise people is, okay, get a carer or a family member that you can trust to stay around them. If you cannot, of course, not that if, most of us, we're usually not around our elderly ones. So we tell them to get recordings of their blood pressure, even if they are not hypertensive. Daily recording of blood pressure. It's very, very, very important. Okay. Then the weekly recording of their blood sugar, if they're not diabetic. But if they're diabetic, of course, daily recordings, and then let them send these recordings to us, and also engage them in activities. Like I mentioned earlier, puzzles. So to what extent are they able to do some of these things? So we engage them. So whenever the caregiver notices that, oh, okay, this blood pressure is not the same, it's different from what I've been getting, or the blood sugar, or this elderly person is not able to finish this task that she normally does, then they flag it and mention it to the children that, okay, I think we should probably bring in a medical personnel to watch or to examine the elderly person. So it's important that we are also involved in their lives. But if we cannot be there personally, it's better we put someone we trust with them that can actually do some of these things. So I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah. Thank you. I was actually going to ask about even how to get the caregivers, or people that would look after them when we cannot be there physically. So perhaps you want to speak to that a bit. I know that is something that the Gero Care does. Do you want to speak to that for the next couple of minutes? Just share again.
Okay, so we have trained personnel that we send to elderly homes to take care of them. They're actually trained to monitor vital signs and watch out for they know the red flags in elderly. So if you notice that this person is not eating, is not drinking water, is not responsive, is just sitting, moping, like the subtle signs of depression, because they can actually tilt into depression also. So they're actually equipped in all these things, and then they are able to tell us sometimes before they even inform the children, because there are times that they would have dropped messages for the children and the children are not, probably they're busy, they're not responding. They are able to reach out to the medical services team in Gero Care, and then we go ahead to see the elderly one even before the children are now aware that, oh, okay, really, this thing happened, but the doctor is saying, don't worry, everything is fine. We put up this, we put up that in place. So yes, Gero Care does that. We are able to provide caregivers like that.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat, so I'll just ask one final question to you. What is one key message you would like every woman here to take away about caring for the elderly? From your perspective, what is one key message you'd like us to take away about caring for our elderly?
Okay, it is important to know that elderly people are also human, so we have to treat them with respect. We have to treat them the way we treat our little ones. Okay, so we have to also involve them in their care. It is important that they have a say. For those that their cognition is okay, we need to also carry them along as they age. We carry them along. So this is what, at this stage, Mom, this is what you should be doing. This is what you're able to do. So communication, it is important to communicate with our elderly ones, either our aunties that are aged or our parents that are aged. So communication is key because they worry a lot. It's when they are going to bed. Sometimes I go to visit them, they will tell me they were unable to sleep. Why were you unable to sleep? Because my daughter, I've not heard from him, I've not, my son, you know, things like that. Communication is actually important. So create that channel and maintain that channel. That is it.
Thank you very much. I think that's a very big one. Thank you very much. Okay, so there's a question in the chat, a quick one about how do we get reliable caregivers to help our parents to live alone? Any referrals? So perhaps we can send your details to the person that asked the question. Would that be okay?
Okay, so
Sorry, can you hear me?
yes, I can. Okay. So can I drop it
Okay,
in
so we
the
can, yeah.
chat
So
box?
Sister Chineme would send the details.
Okay.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You
Okay.
can. Thank you very much. I actually had one question that just popped into my head, though. I don't know if it's okay to ask.
Yes,
How do
that's
we
fine.
help them, elderly, maintain mental acuity, right? So to prevent deterioration of the mind. Is there anything that we can do?
That's a big one. Okay, so prevention of or preservation of cognition. There's really nothing in particular that we can
Yes.
do, but people talk about vitamins. So there are some vitamins that actually help in memory. Okay, so they help to maintain their cognition. There's some and not medications per se, but vitamins that actually help with cognition and memory.
Supplements.
Supplements, yes, that help in those.
Right, thank you very much. I think we'll let you go now. So, Doctor, she had to go for a surgery. We just begged her to just stay for at least till 8 o'clock. So, thank you very much. I think we'll release you to go. So, please let's have some appreciation in the chats. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much with the emojis. And God bless you. We appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing with us this evening.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. So, Sister Adeola, we'll come back to you now. Thank you for your understanding and thank you for yes. So please, you can pick up where you left off. I do have a couple of questions, but please pick up where you left off so that you finish what you had planned already. Thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, I think the last point that is one of the most important one is your support system that is around you trying to take care of your parents. For me, I have TOCI, and I'll tell you 3 instances where they have really come. I mean, that it has really come into play. Last year, was it last year? Last year, and we did a carer for my parents. So I reached out to Mamo. But luckily, her sister-in-law, runs like an agency, and we got a carer from her, and we also got carers this year from her. While we're in Nigeria, there's another sister of mine, Tammy, who gave me her nanny. She needed one, and she had gotten one where they bought another one. So, and she just said, that do you want her? And I interviewed, and today she's my mom's caregiver, and she's actually with her here in England. The third instance was in 2023 when my parents went on the high street in England, and my dad said maybe my mom forgot something in the house, and he said, "Wait here on the high street." And before he got back, my mom had gone. She was wondering, I mean, how do we locate her? You know. So, I mean, I just thought of what can I do? What phones are they holding? And that was how I was able to reach out to Stabi and Etisalat and say, you know what, just help me load the Etisalat phones. I'll just be calling them until we're able to locate my mom maybe like an hour later. You know. So that's, I mean, the way TOCI has come through for me in helping to take care of my parents. At any point in time, I can, you know, I can ask for resources, I can ask for information, I can ask, you know, I mean, for example, like this learning that is occurring today. I didn't know about Gero Care. So the only place we were taking my mom was the only one that was, I mean, that was available to me. I didn't have that information. Another support care that I had with my former classmates, because they were my former classmates from secondary school and the university, that means their parents too are like my parents, I mean, similar in age and, you know, in whatever they might be going through. So it's always a point, I mean, a place to ask questions, knowing that somebody would always support, somebody will have information for you. Taking care of one's parents is not one size fits all, and that's the honest truth. Just same way you have a child and everybody wants their child to be the one that will come first in class, but no, somebody's child is the one that will come last. Somebody's child is the one that will always be losing their books. You know, like why are you always so? It's like that with even with parents. Things might not always go the way we expect it, but you know, once we go with um with an open mind, knowing that along the line help will come. And indeed, God has really been mindful of us. He's been sending helpers. He's been sending helpers our way. He's really, really, really been gracious to us, especially in the care for my parents. So in December last year, my husband just said, "Deola, please, can Grandpa just go for um can Grandpa go for a general checkup?" And sincerely, I'm the worst person you should tell that, because I'm healthy. I most of the time I'm so strong that I just keep going, you know. So check up, what for, you know? And we did. And I mean, as it's well, they just flagged up something concerning his prostate. Right now he's on medication. I mean, even though it's nothing life-threatening, but if the checkup was not done, you know, what would have happened? So, like I said, the support system is important. You know, financially, there's going to be a lot of stress on you emotionally. I like the question that Sister Chineme and I think Brenda asked and said, how can you get a caregiver for your parents? I think the first is to know your parents. What will make them comfortable? If you get the best caregiver for your parents and your parents don't accept the caregiver, there's really nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. But they put their own family around them. So you have to start from your parents. What are the kind of, or who are the kind of people that they like, that they want? Is it old? Is it young, that can make them laugh? You know, there's just ways to go about this thing. Because when it comes to all these caregivers, truth be spoken is that not all of them are kind. Some are just there. So somebody said my dad locked all his carers out. Yeah, because he didn't want them. But meanwhile, somebody can just come and just make him feel at home and he's cracking jokes and he's okay. This is my friend. At that age, they are so funny and you cannot predict how they will be. This evening before I left my dad at the accommodation they were staying, my dad came out at 5 p.m. and goes, I've told people that once it's 4, you should start getting dinner ready. And I said, Daddy, your dinner tray is ready. It's just for you to move. It's okay, I didn't know. Then he goes, I think we should go and wake Victory up. I said, Victory is not in the house. Victory is with my mom. No, he lives in his own world. So, if I got a care for him and he will want to do, but they know me. I'm the one that, I'm sorry, I bully him because I'm the one that will make him do what he needs to get done, you know. The other ones just play along. So for you to get the caregiver for your parents, you need to understand what are the kind and carry them along. That's the only way you can get their cooperation, you know. With the siblings, I mean, if you have siblings, I mean, for us, it has brought us closer together. I remember there was an incident, funny, that happened like 2 weeks ago when they told us that my mom was passing, that they were just going to, ease her off with painkillers. And so we said, okay, let's spend the night. So spend the night, everybody took their chair now, just in case three of us, just in case she will pass. So the fourth person said, me, I want pillow, put pillow by the window in the hospital. And that person, I said, so if everybody's carrying their pillow, will my mommy now wake up and say, it's time, I want to go, please wake up. Everybody should be alert now, and for us, it was a nice moment. We've come together, we've been able to identify where we made mistakes. I want my parents have worked their life and stayed in the UK. I told my siblings, I said, my parents' estates have to be put in place. Otherwise, everything goes back to the crown. And just tonight, my brother was telling me that indeed I was correct. But I wasn't fussy about it. I wasn't pushy. I mean, everybody will work for their money, but it's just a shame when somebody has worked and everything reverts back to the crown just because of taxes and stuff like that. So these are things that are not just for our parents, but even for us ourselves. Somebody told me recently and said, look, mortgage in the UK is not worth it. Go for is it long lease or something like that? Because after 99 years, the house will go back to the crown anyway. So there's just so much information out there that we need to learn, we need to know from, so that at the end of it all, yes, someone said estate planning is really essential. And trust me, Indians have gotten it right in this country. They're not leaving anything for any crown. It stays in their family. So, but because we generally in Nigeria, we're not trusting people, it's always, don't eat in this person's house, keep to yourself. Everybody does everything secret, it hasn't really helped us. But now ignorance is no longer an excuse. So we need to ask questions, we need to cry for help, and because it's not one size fits all. No matter what story I tell you, your own parents might be different, Yeah, someone says Nigerians will help if that. Do you want to kill me? Yeah, that's the truth of the matter, but it just needs to be put out there. Let her say yes or no to whatever needs to be done. What we like, you will die eventually. I'm not saying you will die now, but what do you want? But my brother said tax is inevitable because there's no trust. Once there's trust, you don't have to be taxed. So I think that's the long and short of it for me. We're still on the journey. My mom is still eating her amala in the morning, eating Oyibo food in the afternoon and evening. I'm just praying for God's rest for her at His own time. And thank you, sisters.
Thank you so much. I honestly think that we could have had only you for like an hour and a half, and there's so much to talk about. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm sure that it's just the tip of the iceberg you have shared, though, really, really, and you. So, points I've taken from you is, first of all, prepare, for those who may not be in a stage where the trends are that advanced at this point in time, prepare for that time. I think that's the first thing I've heard. Then, the documentation, I just mentioned, will and all of that, the estate planning, dignity in family support, ensuring that there's dignity, getting the right caregivers, involving them in the conversation, and getting family to come together. I think that's a really good one, and that's a really important one that can have impact on how we care for our parents and elderly ones, and also the support system perhaps outside of the family. Where can we go to support? You mentioned TOCI had been very helpful, as well as your old school colleagues. Right. So thank you so very much. I see a hand up. Brenda, let's have your question, please.
Hi, good evening. It's not much of a question, it's more of like a contribution, kind of like to support what she was saying. And it actually came from when you were talking about the fact that some of us may not have our parents in that stage yet, and we need to mentally prepare. I just wanted to share an experience of mine. So my husband's parents are much older, and most of you know that his father recently passed. But before he passed, he was living with stroke for 16 years. And the stroke had impaired his speech, impaired some of his mobility and all of that. And he had to, so after maybe some 8 years or so. They now moved to the US. The daughter in the US moved them to the US, and they decided to split their time between US and Nigeria. So what was happening was they would do 6 months in the US and then 6 months in Nigeria. So they were living in their own house. But immediately they went to the US, they refused to go back to their house again. It was now 6 months in my house in Nigeria, and then 6 months back in US, and then 6 months back in my house. And we did this back and forth for 8 years. Now, was it easy? No. But it did give me an insight into, at a point I would be so frustrated. I would lock myself in my room. I'll be like, "Ugh." But then Holy Spirit, and I went to God in prayer to say, okay, I'm not a bad person. I don't want to be a bad person. Help me to get through this. And the answer I got was, if it was your parents, what would you do? Right? Would you throw them out? Would you be loving? Would you be accepting? And I immediately started to just rethink the whole thing. So I mentally just said, okay, dear Lord, the only thing that's stressing me out here, if I want to be honest, is, I feel like they're in my space. I feel like I'm spending too much because, of course, they have special diets, they have special requests, special need for, hospital care and all of those things. And I would have to be the one to take them because my husband is never around. He's mostly out of town for work. So I kind of felt like, I was being encroached on my time. But when I started to pray about it, I literally started to see it in a better way. Like I started to feel like, okay, so Holy Spirit, okay, I'm stressed because I feel like I'm spending too much and I'm not, I don't have the money. I heard God almost like say, okay, is it money? Done. What else? Okay, I feel like I'm stressed because I don't have this. So it was almost like I could talk about it with God and he was literally providing. So the minute I started stressing about everything, it just became easy. So it was not like, so people would ask me, how can you have your parents-in-law for 2 of them for 6 months in a year? Like how? And I'm like, I don't even feel it. Like I don't even think about it. Do you see? It was no longer a thing in my head. It was almost like it was my parents coming to the house because it was like, okay, if they were coming, what would I do? So I think that, some of us need to really think about it in that way. So it may be your parents-in-law, it may be your parents, whoever it is. You may be the one that is not not really your parents, and it may be somebody that is sick, someone that is not sick. But whatever it is, the truth of the matter is like I think the doctor said, they are humans and they deserve respect. So if you remember that, and then my mother-in-law always says this thing, I'm not a baby. Like literally, I would make stuff for the kids, and she'd be like, I want to eat something. Where's my own? And I look at her like, really? Yeah, she says, I'm not a baby, so I must eat everything. So I now started to give her, so even before she asks, I will give her, so that she feels like, okay, you're one of the children, now just take, and all of that. So I just kind of felt, our relationship grow over the years, and even me, the way I saw them, change over the years. And I think that it was more of good for me, really. And I think that I thank God for the whole experience. So I just wanted to share that we can be open about it. And sometimes when you really feel stressed, talk to God about it. Okay, what is stressing you in this matter, really? Do you understand? Like they would say, if you say, why me? Who should it be? So if it's landed at your table, big up and just do what you have to do. So well done, sister. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that, Brenda. Appreciate that. And well done. Right. So I have a question here. Adeola, I have a question here. So in going through this process of this journey of caring for both your parents now, have you had moments of exhaustion or guilt or even resentment, and what has sustained you, or how has your faith sustained you in those seasons?
Thank you for that question. So, resentment, no. Guilt. I question myself at times that could I have done anything better or differently? And sincerely, I have weighed it. I mean, the times that we had lapses in bringing her back to the UK was because we didn't have the documentation in place. I mean, sincerely, I think about different things, and within what I have, within my capabilities, I think I have given the best that I could have given. Maybe if I was richer, do you understand? I could have done more. But within what I have, I think I did. And I think my siblings, we've done the best. I mean, we've had it, just coming since July, we've been, doing nights in the hospital, giving here and there, time. Some people whose work had, have really, 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 suffered for it, but yes, we did it. So I don't think exhaustion. Yes, I am exhausted right now. I'm battling flu. I'm not usually in the UK at this time, but for them it's worth it, and so yeah. So I think that's if that answers your question. So yes, it is exhausting, but in terms of resentment, no. In terms of can I do more? Yes, I wish I can do more past what I can do now, but within what I have, within my resources, I think I've given the best that I can give. Hello, are you there? Okay, just before she comes back on, I just wanted to mention something that Brenda dwelt upon. So one of the support systems that I've had really has been my husband. My husband, she's sister Brenda was talking about her in-law staying with her for 6 months. My husband, that means my parents have been living with us since 2020, and he doesn't joke with my parents. Because of my dad, he's going to have the DSTV on, he's going to, certain things he does not joke with. When I traveled in May and she was hospitalized, he called me and he was like, they're just pricking her because they need to do blood test and her veins are really, really, because of dehydration, really tiny. They can't find it. He just burst into tears. And they're just pricking her, pricking her. I don't know why they are pricking her. It was like, this one I know loves my mom. If she's not eating, once she hears the word liquor, he's coming, he's going to come and sit down with her, bring his own spoon. Oh, yeah, mommy, and and if you know my husband, he's a very tough person. He doesn't even allow his own family to come that close, but he has really been supportive. He has really been supportive. Sarifi, are you back?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, my network has been a bit funny, but yes, I'm here. Thank you for sharing that. I was just blessing your husband in the chat. May the Lord bless him. That's so great to hear. So there's one question I wanted to ask. So Sayem said something about children being able to see how you take care of your parents. So my question is, how can we involve the younger generation, so our teenagers, our children, in appreciating and caring for the elderly? So have you have your own children been involved or watched you take care, and what do you think that they're learning in the process? So how can we involve them? I think is the main question. And have you had yours involved?
Yes,
What's
they
your
have
take?
been
Yes.
involved. Yes, they've been involved, but not fully. But they're aware of everything that's happening. My first daughter is she's the one that has empathy. So she's more caring. She's the one that you can live with the child, has the patience for you to deal with the child. So just before she came back to school, she would, spend time going to my parents' room, spend time with my mom, When they're going out, I see how they take care of them, hold them, take care of them. My dad pushes everybody's patience. That goes without saying. But for my mom, they've really cared. My little daughter, the second one, she's a bit impatient, but she said something. She said that she was happy because she and my mom used to have it at loggerheads a lot. I don't know why, but they just didn't gel. But she was saying that she was happy that they were able to be in a happy place before my mom went into this non-verbal whatever. Otherwise, that she would have been feeling very guilty. About 2 weeks ago, when they told us that my mom was passing, my husband asked her and said, what do you think of that? And my daughter said she was indifferent. And she explained. She said, why she said she was indifferent was that she wasn't going to feel sorry for my mom. Rather, she was going to feel happy for her that she was she was going to a painless place. My husband didn't take it and he would, why would this, but I spoke to her and she explained to me that. So it's not like she's not going to feel bad that she died, but she's not going to feel bad for her because she knows that she's in a better place. So I think my children have been involved. My children want me that I shouldn't do what grandpa is doing, that they will be very strict with me and stuff like that. But I know I mean, I know especially my first daughter, she has a very soft heart. The second one, I'm not too sure about what, so I'm trusting God that along the line, that they will learn, they would know how to empathize, along their own journey in life too. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. I was just scrolling through the chat. There was a question earlier when you were speaking, asking about, you mentioned power of attorney. I think the question was, what was the power of attorney for? And I think perhaps we can also, on the back of that, speak about other documentation and preparations estate-wise that you would advise anyone to start doing if they haven't already.
All right. So power of attorney is the last LPA, yeah. So it's a document that actually just signs off the person signs off their right to make decisions for themselves to whosoever they designate to out of the children. So when we knew we had to put the power of attorney in place, it was how do you get someone to sign that you are taking charge of my full estate? But when we looked at it, we realized that with my brothers, I think my parents think that the rest of were five, right? That the girls are not educated, it's the boys that are educated. So anything the boys ask or say or want from them, they get it. If my brother just comes and says, sign this, they will sign. So that was how we were able to speak to my brother in Nigeria, who called my mom on video and said, there's some documents I want you to sign. And she signed it. Now, the documentation had, you must have, the person will sign, you must have, I think, like a lawyer, you must have another, maybe like a family member, like two other people. Now, we're able to get them. We're able to get, my pastor's wife, who is a lawyer in the UK here, who knew us, who knows, who trusts us, because, it's a delicate, thing. You could end up just chopping all your parents' money, and throwing them out in the cold. Got another family member, to sign. There were people that knew us, that understood what we're going through, and we did that. We did that for the one in the UK. So after we did that, you send it off to to court, then they do whatever investigation, they send it back maybe like 5 months or within 6 months, it comes back to you that it's been approved. So with that documentation, you can take it to the bank and you can practically operate the person's bank account. You can make decisions for them. So in the hospital, because in the hospital, it's either the person makes a decision for themselves or their child that they've designated. But when an LP is in place, those people will make the decisions for them. So for us, we're 5. So for the LP that we did for the UK, is the 3 people here that are that have the power of attorney over the estate. In Nigeria, it's my brother and I, because we are those are the regions that we live in and that we understand. So that means we can go into any bank and operate them. And I think that's the main important thing. The will, we usually, I don't know, our disposition to making wills, I don't know if it has changed, but there are not things that we readily talk about. But I think it's time that we should do that. We should do that. There are times that I'm going on the 3rd mainland bridge and I'm thinking, God forbid, supposing this bridge just crashes, what happens? Who knows anything about what I do, about what my work, I'm just random thoughts in my head, and I'm young, so I think that these are documents that we should have in place for our old age.
All right. All right. Thank you very much. Sisters, do we have any questions? I saw William's hand up. It's gone down now. Did you want to ask something? Or okay,
Yeah,
please go ahead.
Hi everyone. Thank
Good
you so
evening.
much, Sister Adeola, because it's for you to open up. It's a personal conversation, but thank you. What I just wanted to add and encourage us is we're all going to get old, and the conversation of empathy, the conversation of dignity is very important. What I have found is as people get older, they are not recognized, or they seemingly not to be taken seriously anymore. And so we find that, I mean, I'm working in that space now. So you find that the first thing they say is dignity. And we have to involve them in their care. And thirdly is quality of care. And so it's a continuous conversation. I hope, and I want to chair education team for bringing this up. And I want to implore you to continue to have this conversation, because there is so much we need to know. We're talking about substitute decision maker here. There are different kinds. We're talking about living will. We're talking about will. You're talking about quality of care. The conversation of dementia is wide and broad now. We need to understand it. We have to. Because our elderly that do have these things, they are speaking. They are just not expressing the way we are used to. And also, I want to encourage us. Let's speak to our parents. Let's visit them. There is something I do with my children, with my father that is alive. I've encouraged them to have a personal relationship with him. They call him. They gist with him. These things lighten up the day for our parents. Even if you think your child is a little bit not the way you expect her to be, the truth is that that's your business. She's expressing herself. And old people want that. Where I work, you see there is a clear difference when family come and visit their elderly. So I want to encourage us, whether it is Zoom, use whatever we have to encourage the relationship with our parents or our grandparents or our grandaunties. And most importantly, let's love them. The time is short. We pray for long life. The truth is that we don't know when they will go. But when they go, let them pray. Because there's a prayer for a father unto a child. There's a prayer for a mother unto her daughter. And may we not miss it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sister Amy. I think very sobering, I think, is what I would say, and very insightful as well. And it reminds me, I did, in terms of my grandparents, I think I only met two of them, one on each side. But my grandfather, who's my mom's dad, was, someone that you could talk to. So I think that's a good one, to encourage them to call the grandparents, not just on their birthdays, right? Not on other days as well. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's something that would invite. Okay, I think maybe not seeing any questions in the chat. Just one last question from me, and the same thing I asked the doctor. So, Adeola, what if you were to give one key message? What is one key message you would like every woman here to take away about caring for the elderly?
I think the key message for me is caring for the elderly.
Sorry, did you hear that? Am I off again?
Yes.
Okay.
I heard you. One key message is that I would like to mention is caring for the elderly doesn't start and stop with you. It's a continuous thing. So whatsoever you're giving out, expect to receive it. So how are you preparing for even your own care in future? So I mean that is important, because whether our reactions, it will help guide our reactions. Are we angry? Are we upset? Imagine if it was you on the other side that you were being cared for. How would you expect? Because you don't know how it will be when it's your own turn. So I think, I mean, one of the questions you asked the doctor was, how can we stop the aging? So we can't stop the aging process, but what we can look at are ways that we can make our aging process better, and the best way possible to make it quantitative.
Thank you very much. I see Sister Milton's hand up. And that was going to be the last question, but I see your hand up, if you don't mind.
Sorry,
Please
it's not a question. I just wanted to, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, it's not a question, but I think this, I
Yes.
don't know who spoke
Okay.
before Sister Adeola, but I just wanted to add on to something she said. I did a training at work recently, and something that they talked about was elder abuse. And a lot of us, we don't realize how much, I don't know if it was spoken about, but we don't realize how much we engage in elder abuse. So what that would look like is maybe because they feel somebody is elderly, their opinion does not matter. And then you're like, just go and sleep, just go and sit down, just go and, oh, your wala is too much. And in some way, they linked it to the fact that when people who are older are treated that way, it increases their sense of, it's like they just feel less than, and it increases isolation. So they just end up going to bed. And elder abuse can be like, okay, maybe they have 50,000, maybe their bank account was 50,000 naira or something, but you've gone to their account and withdrawn 20K and they didn't even know. But it's, as far as you are concerned, in your own innocence, it's like, what does mommy want to know, the account of balance of account and everything? So it just goes back to how we treat the elderly, how we involve them in their care. I mean, if they say that, oh, I don't like this food, they don't like it, let's honor them. Let's give them that respect. Like, we shouldn't say because they're now elderly, their opinion is don't matter, and we're very dismissive of everything they say or do. So I just wanted to talk about that because that was really enlightening for me in terms of elder abuse, that a lot of people even in healthcare engage in elder abuse and they don't even realize that they're doing that. So I just wanted to add that on.
Thank you so much. I think even the neglect or not calling can somewhat even fall within that, within the umbrella of that, even though perhaps not on the same level. But indeed, thank you for bringing that to our reckoning. Debs, let's have you as the last speaker, and then we'll round up.
Hi. Thank you so much to everyone who has spoken. Please, can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes, you can.
All right, great. So just regarding this elder abuse thing, I just remembered something that I thought to share. So a few weeks ago, I'll say like 3 weeks ago, I went over to my dad. My dad's in the afternoon, well, in the morning, and so he was telling me something about his phone, and I was a bit curt with him, like, "Ah, please, let's not." I was just not in the mood. I had other things I needed to do. So he kept insisting that, oh, please look at my phone. It's not ringing now. Da, 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 da. So I was like, okay, come, give it to me. And his WhatsApp was open, and somebody had sent him an agreement to sign, right? But the agreement was already signed by my dad, allegedly. And in the agreement, what they were saying in terms of the agreement was, long story short, my dad was meant to pay this person 50K every year for the next 4 years, something dodgy like that. And I was like, huh? So I started asking my dad, and he was like, he doesn't know what I'm talking about. That what am I saying? That rubbish. And I was like, no, no, look at this person. He was like, yeah, he knows who the person is, but he's not sure what the agreement is about. Anyway, I got my siblings involved. What had happened was I didn't go to my dad in September, or either August or September, and somebody had come over to like help clean the house, like family, not a family member, like a family friend, sha, but we know them, like long-term family friend. One of their children had come over, and in cleaning the house, because my dad's like 85, his bank statements had been lying around. She had seen it. They took pictures of it, sent it to themselves, and that was how they basically drafted the agreement where my dad was going to give them XYZ amount of money. It was called, like, they said he was investing in their business, something like that. And it just really made me sad because I was like, oh my God, just because I didn't come to the house and this is what's happening. Like, it was almost like because I felt like I'd neglected him. And then this is what, like, other people were taking advantage of him. And so this elder abuse thing I just like remembered to mention it. You need to be patient with older people. But hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Debbie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you need to be very patient with older people, but it's very essential that as they grow older, you really talk to them. You really be careful of people around them because not everybody has a clean heart. Like this person, I've known her, we've known the family since before I was born. So it was just very shocking that this would happen. But I just remembered that and I was like, oh yeah, that's true. That happened to us. So, yeah, elder abuse. I don't know, but I've lost my train of thought. But yeah, elder abuse is a real thing. It can be also perpetrated, it can be other people. Not speaking to them, not being there for them,
Wow.
regardless, can actually like lead to a cycle of abuse. So yeah,
Mm.
thank you.
Thank you very much, Debs. I think this needs to be a continuing conversation, even if it's in our own hearts and in our own home. But one thing that is clear that came out when we were speaking was that we're sowing seeds, right? In everything that we're doing for our elderly, we're sowing seeds. I'm hoping you can hear me. Does it? Hello?
Yes, we
Okay.
can. We can.
We can.
Okay. All right. So I think it's a convenient time to stop. We've had a really good conversation. Want to say big thank you to Sister Adeola. Like I said, I think even it feels like there's more to talk about, but I think from what we've heard today, we know that caring for elderly is not just an act of service, it's really an act of worship as well. It's sowing seeds, is honoring them, it's obeying God as well. And we've heard it requires patience, it requires empathy, compassion, wisdom, really, and even the grace of God for what we heard in Deb's story. But also balance and self-care. As in taking care of them, we also need to ensure that we're doing the best we can and not really running ourselves ragged. We honor God when we honor those who have gone before us. So I want to say thank you very much to Adeola. And please, I'd appreciate if we can say thank you to her in the chat as well, because it has been very, very insightful and sobering and educative all at the same time, and really a lot to think about. And if there's one thing I'd say we should take away, if we can go away with the thought of what one thing can I do differently with the elderly that are in my space currently, whether it's a parent, whether it's an aunt, whether it's someone that is just within our vicinity that we have some level of care towards. What one thing can I do differently? I think I have one. I have my own in my head. What one thing can we do differently to ensure that we're doing the best we can in taking care of our elderly? Because I knew, like Sister Adeola said, when my dad passed, the biggest comfort was that we had done our best. Like there was nothing that needed to be done that we hadn't done. So we could, not necessarily pat ourselves on the back, but know within ourselves that yes, we did our absolute best, and there was nothing more that was possible that we could have done, right? So, and that is what kind of needs to take away even as we go forward. So, thank you very much. Thanks to all who stayed, who attended and stayed and listened. I'm sure it has been a great evening for you. I've taken so much away, and I'm so grateful for this session. So thank you very much. I think I'll just say the closing prayer so that we can have go back to our families and have a good evening. So, Father Lord, we thank you for today. Thank you for the wisdom that have been shared today, the experiences, the insights, and the new knowledge or the awareness that have been opened up to each and every one of us. Lord, we ask that you strengthen each and every one of us as we take care of the elderly around us, strengthen every caregiver, whether it's us or other people. We ask that you comfort every elderly in our midst. Show us what to do to give them that comfort, to give them that love, that care, even as they go towards the end of their days. Teach us to serve with love. Teach us to rest in you and to see this work as holy work that has been brought about by you, and help us to do it by your grace and to your glory. In Jesus' mighty name, we pray. We thank you for the sisters who have shared. We ask that you bless them and keep them and strengthen them in everything that they do. Father, may they be the particular of every reward that comes from you for the work that they do. And to all who have listened, we ask that you touch their hearts and show them, give them the wisdom to work in whichever way this applies to them. And Lord, we ask that in all of this, you take all the glory. Thank you, everlasting Father. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. Thank you very much, sisters. This has been a great evening. Really appreciate you all. Thank you.
Bravo,
And
Education Committee.
have a good evening,
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank you, Sister Adeola. God bless you.
Thank you for thanking
Bye.
us.
Thank you,
Thank
education
you,
team.
Sister
God bless
Della.
you.
Thanks
Thank
all.
you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.